Hey, Facebook, this is James, and I am just making part four of my testimony right now. And this one is going to be really good. I am telling you, I'm so excited to share with you guys my testimony of when Jesus appeared to me. Now, you know, most of you may know when you read Apostle Taylor's book, Face to Face Appearances with Jesus, from Jesus, the ultimate intimacy, you are promised a face to face visitation from him. And I remember I read it, and when I read it, I was so excited, and I stood on Apostle's word. I received it, um, and it was even coming to conferences too. And the great thing about that is when you come in this glory, you're accelerated, and you hear all these, you hear all many other people's testimonies. I mean, I'm telling you, these services and these conferences are packed, and I was coming to them for many months before Jesus came to me. And I was watching all the content online of all these testimonies from just hundreds of people, and there's thousands, even millions more. 17 million people following this movement. And they've all received face-to-face appearances from Jesus, or they're still waiting on it. But it's amazing, and it really built my faith, and it got me super excited for my appearance from Jesus. So mine happened when was, I was connected for about 7 months. And I remember um, I was just eagerly waiting for this experience. When I first got the book on day one, I talked with somebody that week from the ministry, and they said, oh, Jesus could come to you tonight, right? So um, it's good to have it's good to have faith like that, but ultimately they did balance it and say like, okay, well, it's his decision when he comes. There might be some people have to wait. So I had, expectations were high, but I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like I was, you know what I mean? I knew it was his choice. So when it was going to happen, it was going to happen. So, but I didn't think it was going to take me 7 months. In my heart, I really believed, okay, it could be this week, it could be this day, it could be this minute, it could be whenever, So, and that it was beautiful, just waiting. But anyway, so 7 months after reading the book, I remember I went to work one day, and I came home exhausted, and I remember I just kind of had a stressful day at work too. There were some things going on, and I was praying before I went to sleep. And um, as I was praying, I just had this unction, like in my spirit, to just press in as hard as I could, just to give everything I could, to prayer. I mean, I would always pray, but you know, um, and there's certain times like you do have to press in and give everything you got, but usually during like the times like before I go to bed, it's usually like softer prayers, maybe some Bible reading and stuff. But at this time, I just was compelled to just go in, and I was really pouring my heart out to the Lord, and really just laying on the line, like, Lord, please come to me. I need you to come to me. I'm miserable if you don't come to me. Please come to me. You promised you'd come to me. I was telling him things like that. And I remember I went to sleep very shortly after on my bed, and I remember I had this dream, and in the dream I was in a room, and it was a white room, and it was cloudy, and I didn't know what it was then, but now I know it was God's glory, because God's glory is described as a cloud. So it was a cloud full of glory, and I'm in this room, and it wasn't that big of a room. It may have been like the size of this room. And I remember across the room, I saw Jesus, and I saw him, and he had his back facing me. I saw his back, but I knew it was him because I saw the white robe. He had a long, flowing white robe. It was silk, and I saw his long hair that kind of like drooped down to like past his shoulders, his long sandy brown hair, and I just knew in my heart in the dream that I had a knowing that it's Jesus. So I didn't in the dream I didn't wait for anything to happen. I ran over to him, and I hugged him from the side. I gave him like just the biggest hug I could, and I squeezed him. And I think I hugged him, and I had a realization. I was like, you know what? I didn't even ask him if I could do this. Like, was this? Was this considerate? So I pulled away a little bit. I, put my arms down, and then, I hugged him from the side. So, after I put my arms down, I look at his face. I'm like, just seeing how he's taking it, and he's he was looking forward. He was gazing forward, but I knew he could tell I wanted to know what he was feeling and thinking. So he just kind of like turns his face towards me, and then he just smiles like a closed mouth smile, like that, and it meant so much. It meant the world to me, and that was it. The dream ended shortly after, and then I woke up and I'm like, did I just dream about Jesus? And it totally, I was like, that was Jesus, and I knew it was there. And then just given all the things that happened, and I ended up calling the prayer line because I needed to know what that meant, because I know I read an apostle's book, every time Jesus comes to you, it's meaningful and there's impartation, so I wanted to know what I got, so I called in. I wanted to know what the Lord gave me, so I called in, and I spoke with a minister, and he told me that that was a sign of the Lord's favor on my life. He said, in the light of a king's countenance is favor. So, he smiled at me. That means he favored me. And I needed that because I needed to know he favored me, because I'm somebody who, I've done a lot of things in my life. I've gone through, I've had a lot of challenges in my life. I'm not, I wouldn't say I had a harder life than most people, but I just, it just seemed like every time I was set out to do something, it was, I had more obstacles, it seemed like, than other people. Let's just say that. So, and I never knew God was for me like that. I knew generally, okay, God is for me, but he's for everybody. So if he's for you and he's for me, who's he really, you know what I mean? I just needed more clarity and more understanding. And I need to know personally, God is for me. So after I had that dream, it changed my heart, and it made me feel so welcomed by the Lord, It made me know he received me, and he let me get so close to him in that dream. So it was awesome, and I'll never forget it, and I treasure it. I'll treasure it forever, and because I treasure him. And yeah, I held on to that, and I really, I think about it often. I probably think about it every day. And on the phones, I have the privilege of telling people about it. And I think my most favorite experience telling somebody was when I told Apostle Taylor. It was during May, during Memorial Day. Sorry, no, not wasn't that. It was I did see him then, but different occasion. He was here for Father's Day. It was on Father's Day here. He was here at the headquarters, and it was after we had our Father's Day party, and things are kind of winding down. People are just chilling, and I'm just I was hanging out in the sanctuary, and I was headed to the bathroom, and so I'm going to the bathroom, and there's some couches out there, and I see Apostle Taylor, and it was my first time getting super close to him, outside of a group setting. I mean, I would see him in conferences, and I've had the honor of being called up on stage and giving my testimony, and I'd talk to him then, but I never had a conversation with him, and I always wanted to have one, and it was so great. On Father's Day, I got to walk by him, and I was just so close to him. You just had to talk, so, and I was new on staff. So, anyways, I looked at him, and, he just gives me this warm look. He's just like, "Hello, son, how are you?" And we start talking, and he says, he asked me, he's like, "Has Jesus come to you yet?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I tell him all about it. I tell him about my experience. And then, I tell him the same thing I just told you guys. And he says, "Wow, that's awesome, son." He said, "The Lord let you hug him." And the way he said it, there was just so much um, how do I even say it? Jesus is so worthy of reverence. He's so worthy of honor, and he's so holy, and the way Apostle said that, I had this realization at that moment, that was a huge honor, and not many people get that. So he ends up after he said that, I was like, wow, thank you, sir, for telling me that. And he says, son, always be thankful and always value this. Always value face to face, and he'll give you more. And I received it, and I felt so good, and I said, thank you, sir, thank you. And then I didn't know what else to say after that. I was just like, wow, like, his face to face best friend told me that. He told me the key to getting more was to value him and to be thankful. And since then, I've learned that that is the key to really staying in a relationship, not only with God but with other people. Like, you value them and be thankful for them, and you'll have more occasions for that. But yeah, I love Jesus, and I've learned so much about value. I've learned so much about honor. I've learned so much about giving thanks to God for everything since I've been here, and it just shows you that Apostle Taylor, he walks what he talks, and it's awesome, to say the least. So I love that experience, and honestly, I tell somebody on the phone that every chance I get, and I tell them, you could have that same experience. When you read the book, he promises to come to you. So it's beautiful. This is a ministry of intimacy, and I think I'm not glorying in myself or anything. I think I at all, like, there are people who sought the Lord way more than I did. There are people who paid a greater price than I did, but I don't know. It was just, he let me hug him, and that was it. And I don't know why, really. So, but it was awesome, and I'm forever grateful. And I'm forever grateful for his face-to-face best friend, Apostle Taylor. And that's why I'm proud to say that he's my spiritual father. I'm proud to say that he is the best. He's the greatest man of God ever, and he really knows Jesus personally. So that's why I'm here. That's why I serve, and that's one of the treasures God gave me. So I hope that blessed you, and take care. Have a great night. Bye-bye.